Have you ever wondered how they fished in the 18th century? Well, the concept of a nigh and a hook didn't exist, so you have what's called a spade, but this one also has a barb built into it. And I'm going to get into the artisan who built this, but I thought, got to tell a wee bit of history. So, how did they fish in the 18th century? Well, they used, for the most part, they had horsehair fish line, but for the most part they'd use waxed Irish linen. So we've got a thinner, probably a 2-braid, sort of like a leader if you think of that, and then a heavier braid one for the main line. And I'll just point out a trick that I learned many, many years ago. When I'm historic trekking, you have to use your imagination here, but this is a willow tree or some bendable tree, maybe tag alder along the shore of rivers because they're always there and they're quite bendable. So if you bend that tree over and you tie a line here at this end, and let's say it's you've got 20 feet of water, a drop off. So you'd put about 20 feet or 18 feet or so of line out, and you tie a small rock at the end that would hold it down at the bottom. And then every foot along that line you tie a hook and you bait it. So, and then you go to bed. So with any luck in the morning, there's going to be a fish attached to at least one of those hooks. So let's say in 20 feet of water, you're not right at the very bottom. You've probably got maybe 8 or 9 hooks at various levels, because the fish are always at different thermal levels. So during the night, if a fish happens to belong at a level that you've established one of those hooks at, and because of this bend, and they go for the bait, well, the bend in that thing will actually set the hook. And then so come morning, you got yourself breakfast. Anyway, so a wee bit of history. George Washington himself, the very old George there, he was an avid fisherman, both recreational wise and commercially speaking. And fly fishing at the time was quite popular, quite common, but George, he preferred what was called coarse fishing. So a hook, a worm, and a stick. And he would fish the Potomac River, which bordered his estate at Mount Vernon. But he was huge into the commercial aspect of fishing. He had numerous fish processing places along the river where they'd catch herring and shad. And with enslaved labor, they did the processing, they did the fishing. He even had boat building yards. And that salted fish that was processed was both sold domestically to the domestic market. It was also sold internationally, particularly to the Caribbean. And it was a huge, or at least a significant part of George Washington's income. But I want to introduce a fellow here in a minute, and his name is Leon Sam Briggs. He's a Seneca Artisan, and he's going to demonstrate how these little rascals were made in the 18th century. I was fortunate to come upon him demonstrating at Old Fort Niagara at their French and Indian War event, and he agreed to a wee bit of an interview, and it follows along here.
My name's Leon Sam Briggs. I'm from Tonawanda, Seneca, Hawk Clan. Here at Fort Niagara this weekend, doing 18th century fishing hooks and fishing displays. So one of the pieces that we have here, these are all original tools. So when we're working to show how it was done 18th century style, this tool was actually made for doing springs and stuff for the Queen Anne's pistols. But I have original stump ambles and the hammer and all the tools and stuff. So we're going to give you a demonstration. These hooks that I'm making I have 2 of them that are 4,000 years old that are designed, they're made in this style. So this is one I use. It's called a spade barb. We do blind eye and we do spade. And the difference is on a blind eye, it is straight, but then on a spade, it literally has a spade on the end. On the spade hook, it was used, they use a snelled knot, which means it's an Irish term, means to make lively. Then they would use 6 half hitches on the blind eye. So what we start with is we're doing cold forging, and this I use certified hook material because people want to use them for fishing, and some of the fish commissions and stuff kind of frown on using others. So, but what we do is we start our spade on our tip. We want to take it down to about a little over a third past the parent material. Now what I did, I have one side that's straight and one side that's pushed out. Now the straight side is going to be the front. So when I start on a 45 degree, I start the spade. And then on the other side, I roll it over, and I'm going to do that, and I want to try to bring them together. So now this is our front, and you see the steeper angle here. Now this file only is sharpened on two sides, and so we start behind where we set our barb, start cutting our barb in. We roll it to take any sharp edges off from underneath. So once we get that, we just kind of dress it up. So now we have finished our barb, and you can see how that comes down. But that is what they call a spade barb. So when we take our pliers, we start right behind our barb, then we start rolling. Then we figure our length. Once we get it started, then we can just simply break it because the tool has a sharp edge on it. I just tighten it up and break it off. So now this by itself would be called a blind eye. Now we're going to put the spade on it, and we do the same as we did on the front, coming right off the corner. So then we just dress our edges. And we've got the hook that's finished.